Hello, everyone, and welcome to King Me Rev Type Podcast. Just today, the show where we shine a spotlight on mental health through the stories and experiences of our guests. I am your host, the Rev Dude, coming to you live from Riverside. I am here to introduce my special guest today, BioPro alumni, and dare I say, Rookie of the Year with Wrestling Open. You think it? All right. It is Black Jack, baby.
That's
Welcome.
right.
Welcome to the show.
Feels good. It feels good.
There you go. I had to write that down, man. I had to pause for a second to give the audience. I'm going to edit that before I say, I'm like, 1 second. Black Jack. Dude, it is so great for your, it's wonderful to have you here, to be honest. Like, I'm super excited that you reached out. Super grateful to have this conversation. I've heard so many great things about you from your fellow open wrestlers. I'm just gonna say that. Like they say wonderful.
I never know what people think about me. So
right, they say great things about you. They told me I'm an outstanding guy you are. So it makes me like super excited to have you here today. I'm just gonna be honest.
yeah, thank you. It feels good. I always like to talk about wrestling. I did one of these with another. Fuck, I forget. Yeah, it's just always fun to do interviews. Get my life story off my chest.
All right.
Good about to talk about that shit. So.
Right, and you're so young. You're 20, right?
Yeah.
Are you in college right now?
I am. Yeah, I go to Worcester State, which is probably about 10-minute drive from the Eagle, give or take, with traffic.
Right. Worcester State. Shameless self-promotion here. DDP Yoga. Have you ever done DDP Yoga?
I've been meaning to start. One of my friends gave me their login for it, but I keep forgetting to try it out. I should be doing that. I need to. I'm tight as fuck. I need to stretch more.
So why I say that is I have a friend, Heather Berkowitz, who is a level 2 DDP yoga instructor, and I'm pretty sure she does a class every Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. For 5 o'clock, it's $5 for Worcester State students, and I could totally like hook you up with that.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I do have my friend did send me his account details, so I don't know if that that might be able to cover me. But
yeah. The other thing I would say is we, at the Roots Awakening Kava Bar in the upcoming year 2026, we've already hosted one DDP yoga event, and it's right around the corner from the White Eagle. It's literally like a 3-minute walk to the other side. It's just right behind you guys. For any professional wrestler who's listening, and for you, anytime we have a DDP yoga event, you guys get in for free.
Oh shit!
Everybody else is $30. So,
well, that's a hell of an offer.
You normies got to pay, right? You're not cool like Jack over here. You don't get in for free, okay?
Nah, they're cool. They just don't have the cool perk that we have.
Right. Yeah, that's just life, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
That is life, definitely.
So, the first thing I wanted to ask you about, and I kind of dabbled in this already. So, like, your team at BioPro seems incredibly supportive of one another, and I love seeing that, right? So my first question is, what does BioPro mean to you personally, and how has that environment helped shape you as a wrestler?
It's a good question. I think what bio means to me is that I think it means destiny to me, because bio is a relatively new school. When I first kind of like got the idea that, hey, maybe I want to wrestle, it was around April 2023. I think how it stemmed was I saw an ad for WrestleMania. I'm like, hey, I kind of used to like wrestling. I don't know what the hell I want to do with my life. I have a solid physique, pretty athletic. Sounds like a good idea. It just so happened that bio opened in Worcester, which is probably like 30 minutes from me, a few months before. So I didn't start right then and there. I had my first training day. in mid-June of 2024, so about a year later, because I wanted to finish high school first. So yeah, I think bio to me was like the first sign of like luck and like this is what you're meant to do kind of thing. Um, because it just happened to be so conveniently timed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. You know, I've heard from guys like Drager, right, and a few others, how it almost seems like you guys are very tight knit. You guys really look out for each other.
Mhm.
Like one of the things that I like to talk to people about is making sure they have some kind of support structure. So, is it dare I say you guys got that in lock?
Yeah, I would say so. I see we often talk to each other, hang out with each other outside of wrestling here and there. We'll always I wouldn't say always, but most of the time we hang out afterwards. So it's kind of like a built-in friendship, if that makes sense. So we do look out for each other, and both in wrestling and in our personal lives.
It's wonderful. Now, me being the person I am, right? My son's 23, going to be 24 pretty soon.
Mhm.
I was 16 when he was born. So that if you do the math, I've been a father on this earth longer than I've ever been not a father on this earth, right? And aging myself appropriately. I don't look too bad for 40, all right? Don't judge
No,
me.
not at all. I've seen way worse.
Right? Um, but there's something that when I was your age, actually, and I was in the army, my drill sergeant always said to me, right? My drill sergeant always told me that if we failed, it's because they failed to give us the necessary tools in order to succeed, right? And by the looks of it, from everything I've seen, BioPro has given you those tools, my friend.
Definitely.
Can
Yeah.
you can you shed some light on anything that like speaking of the dad scenario, right? You got to be having somebody like TJC around, TJ Crawford. It's got
Mhm.
to be I mean, how does that make you feel to have a guy like that at your backside?
Well, I mean, bio. Thinking about all the tools it's given me, it gives me 2 weekly shows. And when I started, it was only one. It was just Wrestling Open in Worcester. Now we have Rhode Island, which has been extremely successful. Um, and then you have the sprinkled in for the months, obviously too. So, given access to once you graduate to be booked in a good amount of those shows, it gets you more and more experience. You have 2 days of training, sometimes maybe an extra one. I mean, there about a week ago we had a third day because we didn't have anything on the Monday, so we made it 3 days, which was perfect. So, given being given access to all these events and reps is awesome for developing yourself. And then there's that within those reps you'll meet other people, like for example Hammer Tunis. um he was obviously he retired recently, obviously, but given that Tunis trains with us, I was able to meet his brother, and then Hammer, who runs PvP, I was able to get booked through that. And then there was guys like, I didn't meet Ted Goods through Wrestling Open, but Wrestling Open, he did wrestle for Wrestling Open before he retired, and he runs Live Pro. So I mean, sometimes you'll meet guys who are wrestlers and bookers, and then you'll be able to kind of extend your reach throughout all that. So yeah, I would say the amount of shit Paco's got given me is incredible. And then, I have great trainers too. Like TJ's our assistant trainer, and then there's also Love Doug, who's another one of our assistant trainers. Obviously, they're tag partners. But then there's guys like my head coaches, like Tom Santel, who was in WWE in 2005 as part of the Heartthrobs. Brian Malones, who isn't our trainer anymore, but he was for a good portion of my training. And there's guys like Ricky Shane Page who have wrestled for like over 20 years. He's one of the deathmatch kings, but he knows a hell of a lot of shit about wrestling as a whole. Like, not like a lot of other deathmatch guys. So being able to learn from all this shit combined is incredible, and it's definitely set me up for the success I've had.
See, that's great to hear. And you're not wrong into pointing that out that a lot of the deathmatch guys, and I throw no shade at them because what they do is, I mean,
But it's just
insane.
not for me. That's it on a
Right.
different level. I have respect for it for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. That stuff is, boy, you got to be on a different level, my friend. You got to be on a certain intensity. You're got to be cranked up to 75, right? You just got to be those guys. So and you're talking about your coach being able to, 20 plus years in the business, knowing more than just how to light a table on fire, I'm sure. Um, right. It's just
Yeah.
it's absolutely great to hear that. And then I know the whole idea of like TJC and Love Doug being like assistant coaches. Do you ever? I mean, especially with you debuting against TJ and then you having a match where you tagged with TJ. Do you feel like he has that like pride in your work, knowing that he's gotten a fingerprint on your career so much so far?
Definitely. Yeah. No, he's told us straight up. TJ isn't always the one to go out of his way to tell you how proud he is. But like he definitely has pride in his trainees. I'm trying to think of how to word it, but like he definitely has pride in the people he trains. He's kind of a tough lover, but he really, excuse me, he wants us all to succeed, and he will tell you that he's proud. Once he sees you get past like a certain point, and he sees that you wants it.
There you go. Reminds me of my drill
Um,
sergeant already. I love it.
yeah. But yeah, to be able to tag with him, to be able to wrestle him on multiple occasions, and I did tag and wrestle with Doug as well. So to be able to work with them here and there, they've both expressed. I would kind of consider them friends at this point. Sometimes we just text on the side to talk about shit. So, um, yeah, I would definitely feel like I have like a personal connection with both.
Yeah, and they seem like, from everything I've heard inside the business, watching them wrestle, seeing them do what they do, but then hearing about the fact that they seem to be outstanding gentlemen outside the business as well. You know,
Yeah,
much love to those gentlemen for sure, and to big business in general, of course. Um,
BB.
right?
I was a
Uh,
two-time intern there.
you gotta throw the whole gang. All right, I
Yeah,
love it.
maybe
Uh,
one day they'll let me in.
right?
That would
Ooh,
be the best.
you gotta get a new we got to get a singlet or something. I don't know. We got to get the purple
Singlet.
or whatever.
I don't
Just to
know if I'm
like
a singlet guy, but
spice
I
it
mean,
up a
hey, if it
little.
gets me in, maybe.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So this is a question I like to ask everyone, and you kind of touched on it for a second. So I'd like to like take a step back and just ask. I normally like to ask, do you have a defining moment in your life that sparked your journey into wrestling? Um, and you were bringing up a match at WrestleMania. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
I think it's a few different things. I think the first thing that kind of got me into wrestling was the Andre the Giant documentary. Like I didn't grow up watching wrestling per se, um, but I think I discovered it like more around the time I was like 13. So I kind of got into it there. I was on and off with it a little bit. Um, and I the first time I ever had the idea to wrestle was when I was 13. I think when I was 13, but I wasn't that serious about it. And then I remember, like before I got the idea again, I was kind of like, yeah, that was just kind of a stupid idea. But then when I got the idea to wrestle, that actually got me into wrestling. I think I saw an ad because I'm a big John Cena fan. I saw an ad that my heart is broken right now, but um,
Man,
I saw an ad for that he was going to be wrestling at WrestleMania 39 with Austin Theory. So I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'll pay attention. And I was pissed that he lost. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Because I hadn't been with it the last few years before that. Like, who the fuck is this bum that just beat John Cena? But yeah, that's kind of like the moment that kind of got me back into it. And I'm like, oh shit, Cody Rhodes is back. I had no fucking clue. Seeing how far behind I was with all of it.
Right.
So, yeah, getting back into it is really what started me into it. And then I remember at first when I was looking at places to train, the only thing that showed up at Google at the time was Nepwa, which is about an hour 30 from me. Um, but yeah, Bio was still so new at the time that it wasn't even on Google. So I think my dad discovered it on Twitter or Facebook or one of those two. And then he sent it to me, and then that's kind of how I got familiar with Bio. I sat in on a class a few months before I joined, and then I officially joined. And then I was terrified, but I'm like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get comfortable and do the best I can.
So, do you have an athletic background?
I do, yes. I played baseball from probably age 6 to 14, and then I threw shot put throughout all of high school and discus. I was a big thrower. And then what else? Played a few years of rec basketball. Played pickup basketball, then pickup football or whatever with my friends here and there. And yeah, I've been in the gym for about 6 years. 6 years, yeah.
And man, you must be pumping solid because you know what's crazy is going back the last couple days watching your matches over, especially your debut last December with TJ, of course. Looking at you now, it's like, all right, you had to have gained like some muscle, bro. Like you must have been working on it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. I mean, throughout high school, I bulked up a lot. I got up to about 210 by the time I graduated. So I think I was like 140 or so in freshman year. I did bulk up a lot. But I remember around the time I debuted, I was like the lightest I had been in years. I was like 193 or something. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like I just like completely lost my appetite out of nowhere. So I dropped so much weight. But I got it back up. It was I think I was like 215 in April. But now I'm sitting around 200, 205. So I've kind of just been trying to stay above 200. But kind of lately I've been leaning out a little bit more and working on my cardio because that was a huge weak point at one point. So, but yeah, I'm definitely bigger than I was when I made my initial debut. But yeah, I'm just trying to stay above 200.
I mean, that makes sense. You know, you got to be presentation, be ready for the go. I mean, my I guess the question is like, what is you know, take me through like a workout because I know you said about like leg day. Today was leg day, right? And I always love to throw shade at some people because they run away from leg day. I'm like, if you worked out your legs, you could have ran faster from it. Um,
Yeah.
I worked at a gym for a couple of years, and there was always people who come like, "Oh, it's leg day. I don't even want a beer." I'm like, "Hey, I saw your calves, bro. You need it. All right, so get back to work.
Yeah.
Boom. Take me through like a workout. Like, what are you? Where are you hitting your? Where are you trying to get your gains at?"
So for the longest time, I did like powerlifting, or I'll say power building, like a mixture of powerlifting and bodybuilding in my workouts. So start the workout with like a heavy compound like squats, bench, or deadlift. If you do the push pull leg split, for example, you'll deadlift on your pull day, bench on your push day, and then obviously squat on your leg day. So I would always start off heavy, then I'd have like a sub compound lift, whether it was like a Romania deadlift, like seated dumbbell shoulder press, or fucking barbell rows for back. I'm trying to think of the exercises for like specific days. But it's changed a lot over the years. Over summer and most of fall, I would say I was doing more bodybuilding focused training. But I've been especially trying to work on my cardio and endurance lately. Um, so if I want to, I guess I'll go through the workout I did today. So I started with just like lifting for my legs. So I don't do a lot of as much sets as I used to. I'm only doing like 1 to 2 sets per exercise, but I'm going harder in every set. So I started off with squats. I kept like the powerlifting start as I had before. Just did one top set of like 5 reps, which I did with 4 plates, which was good because a few weeks ago I was struggling with 365, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I lost so much strength on squats. But then I just filled out with basic machine stuff like leg extensions, leg curls, and then some calf stuff because I have terrible calf genetics. So I try to do a little bit extra volume on the calves. But then after that, I went to Stairmaster and did about 30 minutes, about 60 steps per minute. And then I finished off with some sled pushes, and I think it was about it. But that was my leg day from hell. I've been going a little bit extra on my leg days recently. My upper body days have not like basically just probably half of what I do on legs. I'm trying to increase stamina, and I kind of just want to throw my cardio in with my leg days rather than on my upper body days. Um, but yeah, my workout routines have changed a lot over the years. Because I grew up skinny, obviously, as I mentioned before. So I would do mostly like heavy lifting, and because it's more fun. Let's be honest, it's way more fun to slap on fucking as many plates as you can and just do 1 rep because that'll always make you feel good about yourself. What some people want to call it ego lifting. I mean, I don't really give a shit for that. I mean, as long as you do a full rep, like
Right. No, yeah, my older brother, Justin, he passed away, but he was huge into both MMA and powerlifting, to be quite frank with you. And man, sometimes I couldn't even count how many plates were on the machines when he's just like pushing it out, and you're just like, bro, I don't even like. I'm just gonna go take a nap. I think you got this covered for the both of us. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, it's just always incredible seeing those people hit those big gains, and then every, I feel like one of the biggest misconstrued things about fitness in general is the average person. They'll sit there and tell you how it's like ego, and it's like you clearly have never worked out a day in your life. Okay?
yeah,
Because if you were to work out, you would understand that getting your body into a certain, shape, whatever you're aiming for, to be fair, right? Actually gives you more mental clarity. It gives you more emotional stability. It does more for your cognitive functioning than it would for just your ego. Like, oh, I just want my pecs to look good. And I feel
yeah,
like so many people just run back to that, like, they watch too many 90s sitcoms where it's like a meathead with muscles. You know what I mean? And quite frankly, that stuff drives me up the wall. Like, I understand that, like, the people who are writing the show probably never worked out a day in their life and they just wanted to stereotype people. And granted, I'm not big super muscles myself. I did do a little lifting here and there with my brother, high school, etc. But like those people, they must drive you up the wall, to be quite frank. Those people who just think that like working out is a vanity thing.
yeah.
You
Honestly, I just pity them. I mean, they seems like they don't have hard work built into them. They seem like they, I don't know, kind of put exercise on the back burner because this is an important part of human life is getting exercise. I mean, like, I get it. Lifting isn't for everyone. Granted, I will admit I kind of had it easy because I find the gym fun. So, I mean, that helps a lot. So, if you hate going to the gym, then I can kind of see where it'd be at. But yeah, I mean, like, you won't see. I wouldn't say not. I wouldn't say everyone who doesn't work out is like that. Obviously, not everyone is going to be like, oh, you have ego or you're a meathead or
right,
etc.
right, of course.
I mean, there are so many, pretty much everything except for working out, wrestling. Everybody in the world is probably better at than I am. Other than those 2 things, I'm not the most skilled individual, but I always think it's incredible what other people can do, like what other people are good at. So, obviously, I do get a lot of compliments on my physique, my strength, and my wrestling ability, but that's kind of how I try to look at other people who are better at certain things than I am. So,
Yeah. That's a great perspective. As my drill sergeants would say, perception is reality, right? So
of course, yeah,
everyone sees the world through their own myopic lens. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I get what you're saying too. You know, for the people who have, like, maybe you know, like for me, I would say 10 years ago, I was doing DDP yoga and I was 135 pounds, but I had incredible core strength. I worked at a retail location where I had to carry furniture all the time. And it was incredible because so often people would come in, they were like, is this guy going to carry my bureau to the car? Like, there's no way, right? This little skinny guy's not going to do it. So I'd be like, all right, hold on a second, stretch it out a little bit. And then I'd pick up the bureau with like this. And I'd just be like, where do you need this bureau at again? I'm going to put it in your car. And they'd be like,
yeah,
what? I don't understand. And it's like, yes, because clearly you don't comprehend the fact that core strength doesn't mean you have to have like an extra 60 pounds of muscle. I mean, it helps, definitely helps, but it's not a
yeah,
necessity. You could be strong in different ways. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. That's like the strength that I had before I really put on all this muscle. Is I had was because I did like martial arts training before, so I had core strength. I had like more what do they call body weight training? There's a name for it.
I can't think about that for the life of me.
What is it
That's a
called?
Google.
Calisthenics. That's what it's called, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Calisthenics. Yeah. So I had a lot of calisthenic ability when I was lighter, more core strength, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
size isn't everything. I mean, some people will tell you it is, but
No, because
size is not everything.
we do in the military. That was pretty much all we did was calisthenics and
Yeah.
cardio. You're not really hitting the gym. And they don't want you to because they don't want you to have super bulk muscle. You need to be able to sprint 3 to 6 seconds to the next foxhole and not get shot, right? You want to
Yeah.
be innocuous. You innocuous. You don't want to be this big target. You want to be a little target. But you still got to be able to move. So we do a lot of calisthenics, man.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing for sure.
Yeah. Those are like the strengths I've kind of lost and started having to start working on again since I gained all this muscle. Because those are the stuff that help with wrestling, unfortunately. But at the same time, they want you to look big. So I'd say that's the
Right.
biggest challenge of wrestling is trying to be able to put on muscle, have cardio, and have like core strength all at the same time. Balancing those three is insane. But I'm working on it and I'm getting better at it.
Once again, DDP yoga. I'll send you the details, my friend. We'll get you. We'll get you. We'll get you in there for sure.
All right, yeah, sounds good.
Balancing's actually a great one. That was something I was going to bring up.
Oh,
Especially,
that's the one I'm the worst at.
yeah, balancing in life as well. So like you're what are you like a first year college, second year college?
I'm a sophomore.
Okay. So how do you I mean, so wrestling open is Monday. You guys only have class Tuesday, Wednesday, correct?
Yes,
Okay. At the schoolyard, right?
the schoolyard.
If the schoolyard, I know. Being the guy from Lowell, Massachusetts, sometimes I gotta bring back the old accent.
Yep.
But being the guy who's had to be trained to use the proper nomenclatures at times. It's different, but yeah, go to the schoolyard Tuesday and Wednesday, of course, kid. Thursday back at the open. So I mean, you're doing all these workouts. How are you balancing training, working shows, school, family, all this wrestling at the same time? Like, how is this? How is this for you? What does this whirlwind look like?
Um, that's a great question. Honestly, I don't know how I've done it. I have a job too, so that's another thing I have to balance. And then you have the gym and stuff like that. So I mean, I wouldn't say I perfectly balance it because I mean, I'm human. So um, I try not to skip workouts, but sometimes I have no choice because you also got to have sleep too because that's important. Um, But yeah, I mean, I sometimes I have to sacrifice certain things to make other things work. Whether that's missing a few assignments in a certain class, which for the kids out there, I don't not condoning that.
Right. Of course.
You know, unfortunately, the term is C's get degrees. So as long as that's what I'm doing, as long as I'm getting my degree, that's more priority. I hope my parents can't hear me saying this right now.
Don't worry, I
Because
won't tell you that.
yeah, because they were bitching at me about it a few days ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I put wrestling first before everything. And that's something that they have slowly accepted, is that I'm going to put wrestling before school because that is my dream. But school is still a high priority, as I try to do pretty good, at least the best I can. Sometimes if I'm overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, I will, put off the assignment or two.
Right. When
And
when
then
things, when things get overwhelming, what helps you reset and clear your head? Like what? I'm curious. Music? My daughter would ask music. If she was here right now, I'm telling you.
music, the thing about music is great, but the thing is that I feel like I'm kind of at a point where I don't know what to listen to anymore. So I feel like I'm sick of like everything I've heard. I feel like I've heard everything I like. I don't know. So normally I would have said yes, but I got to start trying to find new stuff.
Branching out. What do you listen to now then? What were
I
you?
love Creed, so I kind of
Creed?
just have Creed on repeat.
Okay.
What else do I like?
Low key makes sense. WWE like loved to use the Creed back in the early 2000s for sure. So
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like Divorced Dad Rock. That's probably my go-to stuff.
there you go.
Like
Put on
Alter
some Bob
Bridge.
Seger.
Huh?
I said put on some Bob Seger. I don't
Bob
know.
Seger is it's not a bad choice. But yeah, like mostly like stuff like Creed, um, Alter Bridge, 3 Days Grace, Daughtry, which I come out to Daughtry as my walkout song. Mostly like rock based things in terms of music. But what else do I do to kind of chill the fuck out? Dang, I mean, I'm on break right now, so maybe that's harder for me to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're just juggling a thousand things, so you don't even get time to kind of reset or clear your head. One thing an old man that's not your father would advise, and I advise this to everyone, right? I mean, obviously you got wrestling, you work out like a son of a gun, you seem to know your stuff. It's not a horrible idea, and I've told this to a couple people, to have something, right, that could maybe um help you reset yourself. Like some John Cena. You said John Cena's your guy, right? He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. Rest, man, can't believe he's retired. That was heartbreaking to watch.
Yep.
Everybody's,
Going on too.
just heartbreaking. But he actually had an interview recently. He was talking about AJ Styles and how AJ Styles is very close to the end of his career, which was heartbreaking to hear as well.
Of course.
And he was essentially talking about the physicality that AJ Styles, all the stuff that he has to do to prepare to get himself into the ring because he's been doing this for ever, right? Um, so my thing that I like to bring up to people, whether they're professional wrestlers or not, um, is to just be conscientiously aware that there's going to come a time of diminishing returns, right? And the best example I actually have of this was back when I used to work at Babies R Us decades ago, right? I would have a bunch of people that would do their registry and they would come in and they'd be like, do I really need this thing and that thing? And everybody says I should get this and I don't get it. None of this makes any sense. It's really stupid, right? And those first time parents, no dissimilar from yourself, right? You're young, You're 20 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you, man. It's wonderful. It's awesome. You're doing great. You're killing it. But to put it in perspective for them, I would say a similar thing, right? It was always a sage piece of advice from an old man who's had 3 kids. I said, don't think about it from your perspective today. For those parents, I would say, think about how am I gonna need this thing at 3 a.m. when I haven't slept for 4 months and my kid just had an accident in the middle of the night. Like now, you at that point you might want a diaper genie and some extra diapers, and you might want an extra thing to clean it up, right? So use that example for wrestling, wrestlers, etc. I always say, don't just think about today or tomorrow. Think about, hey man, 5, 10 years from now, when maybe I gotta put a little extra giddy up in my step. Maybe I'm gonna need a little extra stretching time or warm up time before I get there. And that's just a little old man advice for a guy who has to do a little extra warm up and stretches before he does his yoga and stuff and whatever else he does. Not a horrible thing to think of, is all.
I think
So,
that.
right. So, do you ever get, and I guess the question here is, have you ever had to explain like the mental or emotional side of wrestling to people in your life and they just don't get it?
Um, yeah, I would. I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, I've definitely explained it before. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, probably a lot of them don't get it. I mean, they haven't been in a wrestler's shoes, so it's probably like different from what they think it is. So, yeah, I mean, I've described it in therapy before, described it to my family, but obviously it's all worth it. I don't want to make it seem like it's fucking traumatic and shit.
Oh, of
It's,
course.
I love what I do, but yeah, I've definitely explained it before, but and it wasn't like super perceived.
See, and that's a great thing. Part of what I do is just to talk about the things that people don't like talking about, right? And so I love to talk about wrestling, but I like to kind of add that little extra in there because the idea is someone's going to watch this and they're going to be like, "Hey, maybe I've had this struggle with X, Y, or Z in my life, and it's been difficult for me to explain it to someone." And some people who maybe you don't have that wonderful support system, then close themselves off from the world because they say, oh, nobody understands you. Nobody will ever get it. And it's like, you know what? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Sometimes in life, you go through something and there just aren't words in the English language to explain it appropriately. And it's not necessarily your fault. You're not ignorant or you shouldn't be negative on yourself. You're human. And those other human beings are just not going to get it because they haven't been there, right?
Yeah.
It's like, have you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Have you ever listened? Do you like Elvis? Have you ever listened to Elvis music?
Heard it. I've heard it a few times. Not something I particularly listen to. No.
All right. So, like for me, I'm a huge Elvis guy, right? Huge Elvis. Yeah, you'll see me at karaoke. You'll see me swinging the hips and getting the lip and getting all into it, right? Like crazy. So, for someone, the average person, they go to some place like, let's say, the Grand Canyon, and they see this gaping masterpiece that Mother Earth created. And maybe they have an existential crisis, like, oh my God, I can't believe this thing exists. For me, I had that existential crisis when I went to Graceland down in Memphis, Tennessee, because this man literally, they had he has a gym that's basically 2 floors high, right? And from floor to ceiling, they have gold and platinum and silver and bronze records from countries all over the world. Some that don't even exist anymore. Some that I didn't even know existed. All right. It never in my life did I feel so small than when I was in this man's trophy case. You know?
Yeah.
Because some people have done things that you can't even have it explained to you. So that's why I bring that up, right?
Yeah.
I like to keep, once again, perception's reality. I like to make sure everybody says, you know what? I couldn't explain it. Well, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's life. That's how it is.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So back to wrestling though. So once you started wrestling, and I would say over the last like 2 years, it's been right.
Training a year and a half, and then active for about a year. So yeah.
Okay, so like 2.5, 3 years. Like, what's one thing about yourself you've learned that surprised you?
Um, guess that when I want something, like when I really want something, I'm the most motivated person in the world. When I don't want something, I'm the least motivated person in the world. So, I mean, to because I've been lazy on shit that I really didn't want to do. Still that way. Um, but to be able to have my first match within like 5-6 months of training was like ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty rare when you come across it in wrestling, especially on a promotion like Wrestling Open too. I mean, like there's a certain standard that you have to be at to wrestle on Open, so that was pretty cool. But just knowing the hard work I put into it to get to that level that quick, I mean, it kind of surprised me that I really wanted it, and I really put in the work for it.
Yeah, and you said it yourself. I've said it before. I'll say it again a million more times. Wrestling Open, Beyond Wrestling, Drew, like, you know what I mean? You're not wrong when you say you got to be of a certain caliber to be in the room with this man, right?
Oh yeah,
He's so good at what he does. He knows what he's doing. And Wrestling Open has come to, I mean, who else has a weekly show every Thursday in the independent scene?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you got to be really, really good at what you do to be able to do something that nobody else does, right?
Yeah,
And Drew does it twice a week now. Twice a week now?
twice a
Twice a
fucking
week.
week.
Some people are lucky if they can get one show every couple of months. This guy does it twice a week. Like,
Yeah,
my God. Let's
it's phenomenal. It's so I mean I'm aiming for a business major in marketing. Obviously that's not the goal is to become a promoter and run promotions. Like I obviously want to be the entertainer, but I mean be able to do that, and he is a food truck business, which
right.
I'm sure you know about. For him to handle all this shit, run a school, run a food truck business, run 2 shows a week, possibly more if there's super shows. I mean, we had a week where I think we had 5 shows in the same week. Once I don't remember when it was, but I remember we had the Ralph show, the student show, the 2 weekly, and then um, there's obviously the 2 days of training. So to have all that shit in one week and then have obviously a life outside of it is mind-boggling. So I mean, I think maybe that's something that helps me um, when I'm trying to balance all this shit. Is that there's always someone out there that's balancing more shit, and that it is possible.
See, and that's such a beautiful sentiment, man, because you're
Yeah,
able to see someone like Drew as such a great example. Here's this guy, and that's one thing I try to explain to people, and it shouldn't be something that you feel ashamed or embarrassed about, because your stress is your stress. And if it feels a lot for you, then it is. You know what I mean? No different from working out. What you hit on the bench press would probably be a lot more than I could hit. So it's no different, right? Whether it's a mental stress or a physical stress, everyone has their limits. And the fact that you can hit more on the bar is because you've been physically stressing yourself out more and more often, right? So someone like Drew juggling something like having 70 million, I mean, the fact that he does at least, I mean, it's got to be like 300 shows a year or something. And he
I
has
think it shows this. I think we're at 101.
101. It's crazy though.
One every 3 days. I mean,
That's crazy.
bonkers.
Some people are lucky if they can get 12 a year. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
for someone to hit 100, like it's it's phenomenal. My flowers.
it
We should
is.
give that man flowers. That man deserves his damn flowers. All right.
Oh yeah, Drew deserves all the flowers.
All the damn flowers. Drew,
I'm
you're a
gonna
great guy.
I'm gonna get him a flower one of these days.
There you go. Maybe I should bring some for Christmas. Really throw off the ball, right? Like before the death match, here's some flowers, bro.
I had an idea for a gift for Christmas, a gift I was gonna get him. I don't know if he'll see this, so I'll say it here. I was thinking we're out of good chairs at the White Eagle. I had my match with Dustin Waller a few weeks ago where we had the no disqualification match. All the chairs were beaten to shit, so that was the most painful thing I took in the ring. Was that first chair shot he gave me? I hurt. I had huge scars, but anyways, I was thinking I'd get him a singular steel chair, wrap it up, and then I figured I could have him create the John Cena meme where he unwraps the chair.
Oh,
And that
man.
Christmas, I feel like that's something that would make his day, but I
Yeah.
hope I
No,
hope I
you're not.
didn't spoil it too early.
The lucky thing is you're not going to spoil it because this isn't going to drop until after Christmas, so we're
Oh,
good.
perfect. All
We're
right,
good.
yeah, I'm gonna run with
No,
that idea.
no spoilers. No spoilers. We're good to
I'll
go.
text Handyman and see if he thinks it's a good idea.
He's actually going to be on the podcast tomorrow too. So,
Oh, is he? Perfect.
yeah, it's going to be great. Maybe I'll throw it at him right before.
All right.
So you've been called like the standout rookie of your class, right? I mean, first off, you've had a hell of a 2025, like a hell of a freshman year, you could say. You won the Jumbo Grand Prix back in October. You got big wins over guys like BRG in a street fight. Whether it was your debut spotlight match with TJC or your wrestling tag team style with TJC or Love Doug, right? I went back and watched a bunch of that stuff. And like, my question is, do you ever go back and rewatch your matches?
Oh yeah, all the time. I have to. Sometimes for nostalgia purpose, other times to see what I can improve on, like tape study and shit like that. Um, I always watch it back. It's always good to clip stuff too, for social media because I feel like that's kind of part of the job. So yeah, I do. There's probably very few matches that I haven't watched back. Just cut something. Yeah, I do watch back as much as I can. I remember there's one that I intentionally did not watch back because it was so bad. Wasn't necessarily my fault. I'm gonna put that there. Um, I just remember being in one match that was awful, and that one was hard to watch back. But I've had mostly positive matches. But it's sometimes good to watch back the parts where you messed up to see what you can do better next time.
Right. Yeah. No, I always definitely like back when I was doing the MMA. I always, one of the things that I did, because I went to the Art Institute of Phoenix to get a bachelor's degree in digital filmmaking and video production, and I was actually in college when I was doing MMA. So one of the ways I was able to get a cheaper rate instead of paying like $400 a month to go there every single day was to record everybody and show it back to them, right? And I couldn't tell you like how different a fighter's perspective was when they were able to see like, hey, every third time I do this, I drop my hand too far, right? Because you do that in the cage and you're going to get your teeth knocked out, right? So it's great, in my opinion. It's always, no matter what you're doing, if it can be filmed, then you could be, you know, I mean, even people who do phone calls, right? Their companies will record those phone calls and give them training on it for God's sakes. So something like professional wrestling is even better. But like, how does it feel to reflect on your progress in the business overall in such a short time? Does it feel surreal to you that you've come this far?
It does kind of feel surreal, to be honest. I didn't expect it to move this fast. Um, but I mean, yeah, it's just me kind of doing what I do, rolling with the punches, going as it goes. Um, making adjustments when I see things that need to be adjusted, trying new things, failing at those new things I tried, and then trying even more new things. I mean, it's kind of all part of the process, but it feels surreal. I'm proud of what I've done this year. I think the only really real goal I set for this year was to have 50 matches, and I had like 70, so killed that. Yeah, thank you. I mean,
Crushing it, bro. You're
it
crushing it.
was it was especially hard in the first half, when I was really only at two promotions, if you can even say two. But I guess my other subsequent goal was to kind of like get out to more places, and at the end of the year, I really got to do that, which I was happy with. So, I mean, just taking advantage of whatever I'm given and trying to make the most out of everything I do.
Right? Opportunity. There's nothing better than a great opportunity knocking. And speaking of opportunities knocking, the fact that you are in proverbially your first year and you've had a phenomenal first year, you've done excellent. Like I've seen so many of your matches and you really put heart and soul into it. And I have to say this, and maybe I should pause for the cause here. But for anybody who doesn't know, Donovan Dijak will be on this podcast in just a few short weeks. And why I bring that up is because you, sir, get to end the year with Dijak himself.
I do. That's the funny thing is about last September 2024, I did one of the seminars right before I wouldn't say right before, but like a little bit before I made my debut. I was about 3 months in, uh, so I got to do his seminar, and then yeah, seeing him on he only shows up at a few Beyond shows. I think he's done one Wrestling Open since my time. He's kind of a guy that they bring in that here and there that is for big purposes. So I guess to see them bring him in for me is I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Obviously he was in NXT. I didn't even know he got cut because like around the time he did, like it took me a little bit to figure that out. And then I'm like, I think at one of the first Beyond shows I did ring crew, I'm like, oh shit, wasn't he just in NXT? Is that the same guy? I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know he was pulling up. So to see all this shit happen and to have me eventually face him, it's pretty crazy. So it's definitely a big bang to end off the year. I faced Brad Baylor at the time. Obviously you said this is gonna get posted later. So at the time of the recording, for the sake of people listening, I face Brad Baylor tomorrow on Monday. Since today's Sunday, what is it, 21st, 22nd?
21st. Yeah.
So yeah, Brad is the guy I wanted to wrestle really bad this year. We're both he's what, probably 10 months older than me. I don't know, barely a year older than me. My age. So we'll just say my age for the sake of simplicity. And to see how far he's come, that's kind of been, I would say that's been my dream match of this year, or my indie dream match. So to get to face him tomorrow, that's pretty big. And then, New Year's Day, I face Bobby for the Wrestling Open Championship. I mean, a lot of cool things.
Yeah, you got me, man, because that was actually next up on my list about Bobby and that one. But I mean, so those are three huge matches to close out the year. How does it feel?
Feels good. I mean, um, it feels like I'm adding something to the show. You know what I'm saying? It feels like I have a valuable role, which I worked my ass off to get. Um, it makes me feel like I have more value. You know what I'm saying? That's a feeling that I just can't really describe. It's such a good feeling.
Right? And it's so great, man. I really hope that you take time over the next, I'm sure with the holidays and your family, it's going to be difficult at some points to be able to reflect on things. But like, let's say January 1st, when you wake up or I should say maybe even January 2nd, when you wake up after you've gotten the Dijak match out of your system, you've been able to wrestle Bobby, like you said, Brad Baylor, you're able to at least take 5 seconds to breathe for yourself and be like, bro, that was a roller coaster, man, because you
Yeah,
had a phenomenal year. And there's those terms where they say like actions speak louder than words, right? The fact that you are in these big matches going into the end of your first year shows how much your trainers and Drew see how talented you are, right?
Mhm.
Has to be. Like there's no other way of putting that feather in your cap, right? And if there was a crowd of people to be like, you deserve it, you deserve it, right? So hopefully you feel great. I mean, you feel great about what you've accomplished so far, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to think I deserve things. I mean, I feel like nothing is deserved in wrestling. I feel like earning stuff is kind of the approach I try to look at everything. So I feel like I've earned all this stuff. I definitely noticed, or I don't want to say I noticed. I feel like I noticed that Drew noticed that I guess I had like I don't want to say like special ability, but I don't really know how else to put it. About
Yeah.
like 2 months into my training, I thought I was just doing average, but apparently they noticed something that I didn't notice. They gave me a practice match 2 months in, which is pretty rare. Um, so to have a practice match only 2 months into training, and then eventually debut 6 months. They think I could have debuted early, but I wanted to make sure I got all my friends there when they were on college winter break. So like if you said you watched my first match, you may have noticed how the spotlight match for that show was the loudest match, and that's because I got 70 of my friends' family to pull up for me. So uh, I kind of cheated the night a little bit, but
Man, and it's funny you say that because like I was like, this is his debut match, but everybody's just like, I Black Jack, I Black Jack, I Black Jack. I just like I was like, damn, like, did they put out a memo or something on this guy? Like, how are
yeah,
these guys so hyped and ready? Like,
those are my homies, and that's my family. Yeah,
there you
cheering me
go,
on.
bro. That
So
there is nothing better than having your people support you. I can tell you that much.
oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna try to get a similar amount of friends and family to the Bobby match. Cheer me on for a big title opportunity. Let's hope we can get somewhere. I haven't gotten anywhere near that amount of people ever since that day, but well, I'm gonna try to get something similar for when I face Bobby. But yeah, I completely lost my train of thought after that.
No, I mean, it makes it was actually I think it was genius because it got the rest of the crowd involved, and then I feel like
Yes.
I've seen a consistent chant and following for you since then, right? Like it seems like there's always a good crowd that's ready to root for you, and they're ready to get behind you, right? They're all in, right? They're all in.
Yeah.
And I have to say though, I respect what you said about you earned it, right? I know it's really big in the wrestling business, especially. It was really big. It was a really big something for us in the military, right? I was
Hmm.
proud to serve my country. I love serving my country. There was nothing more fulfilling for me as a young man to know that I earned the right to put in that uniform. Certainly, anyone can go and sign their document and try to go into the military, but to finish basic training, move into AIT, finish my AIT training as well, you know, you get that sense of pride knowing that it wasn't handed to you, right? You had to do the work, you had to put the work in, and you made it happen, right? um so I guess maybe I should ask this question then, and maybe you should say your debut match. But if someone who's new to you wants to see what I Blackjack is all about, which one or two matches from this year should they go watch first?
That's a good question. Actually, I wouldn't say my debut match. If you wanted to go purely off crowd noise, then I choose that. But I'll try to think of matches that you can pull off YouTube because I'm not going to assume everyone subscribes to IWTV. But there's if you go back on Beyond's YouTube, there's a match I did with Nick Batee. It's a pretty simple match, but it was a good match and it got crowd into it. I think it was between 5 and 6 minutes, but it was one of the matches I was more proud of. I would say that's a good one. Anytime I ever start like talking to a girl or something, and I tell them I'm a wrestler, and they don't know what the fuck wrestling is, that's the match I send them. I send them basic 5-6 minute match that I had with a good worker like Nick. That was in my first 10 matches, and it was like a good working match. So that's one of them. Let me try to think. Pull off YouTube. I guess maybe if you want to have one singles, one tag match, the match I had when we're a team with TJ, that's probably another one I'd choose.
I mean, if you're gonna watch wrestling for the first time, there's nothing wrong with the Silver Sniper, right? So
No,
yeah,
not at all.
you gotta. Oh my god, I've gotten some really great footage of that man in all kinds of places. Even Focus Pro, he did a really great match at Focus Pro, which was actually a pretty funny video. I think he definitely saw and recycled. Some fan had brought a giant picture of his head. It was like,
Oh, really?
and then
Oh,
they had another one that had the it said Silver Sniper, but it was in the as if like Mike Tyson had said it.
oh, because he has that fucking lisp.
Yeah, yeah. And I got a really good pic. I got a really good video of it and put it up even before the match even ended. I put it on Instagram, and it was funny because I knew when TJ had gotten to the back and was on his phone like 6 minutes later because all of a sudden it was like brink. TJC has reposted your post.
Yeah.
He was-
I remember seeing that. And I was like, oh, that's funny as fuck. But yeah, I saw that as well. So
That's great. That's
yeah,
great. Um, So as cliche as this may sound, you kind of your look, your packaging, like it reminds me of like the all American athlete, right? Um, I know you said you played a little ball, kind of made sense because you got the like classic, not the new kids baseball haircut, but the classic kids baseball haircut, like back when I played baseball. But so you're, how do I put this? So that you have this explosive energy, right? And maybe you're not as, let's say, technical as someone, but your intensity reminds me of a young Kurt Angle, like 100%. Granted, he didn't do your Aranagi or your spear, but the way you kind of just go after it in the ring, right? If that makes sense to you.
yeah,
Kurt Angle had that same kind of intensity where it's just like he's coming for you, and he's gonna get you, right?
yeah.
When you're in that ring, like, what is it about your ring style and who you are as a performer that is like that you're trying to develop in there?
Well, I'd say my ring style is, I kind of have a powerhouse ring style. Um, and you know, I think along that is picking people up and slamming them down, and the other part of that is running into someone full force and knocking them. So I don't do the spear anymore. That is a retired move. As sad as I am to say that, too many people do it. Um, so it was time to retire it, but it was so fun to do because I could just run into someone full force. You know what I'm saying? It was a great feeling. So, stuff like that. Um, the Uranagi I do, I would say is mostly. I don't want to say it's an original move because obviously other people do it. Like Solo Sikoa, he does the spinning solo, but he doesn't do it as a finish anymore. So I was like, well, this move looks fucking cool, so I'm just gonna do it as a finish. Actually, no, the reason I decided to start doing it is because I was watching SummerSlam. I think it was Cody versus Solo, and I was watching that match. My dad walked in. He was like, "Oh, that move was fucking cool when he hit the spinning solo." So I'm like, "All right, this move can impress my non-mark dad." So I picked that up. I have some other moves that I have probably going to start experimenting with soon that people will see. But yeah, it's really just that powerhouse style I kind of go for. Show I have strength, show I have uh, power, show with a little bit of speed, enough to knock him down. Um, that's really what I look for in the ring, and have that kind of capacity.
Right. Your style has that classic almost like 80s superhero babyface energy. You got the big moves, the crowd loves you. You got that presence. It also very much reminds me, I don't know if you've ever gone back and watched those kind of matches, but it reminds me of like late 80s, early 90s Steiner Brothers, right? These big powerhouse guys just smashing the crap out of everything that moves, right?
Yeah.
Like that um is besides like current product, is there any like stuff that you've gone back and watched from the past that's been inspiring to you as well?
I'd say like Ruthless Aggression or SmackDown. Like I don't want to endorse the guy obviously, but like Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, um, like Doctor Thugonomics, Cena, Eddie Guerrero, like kind of that like 2002 to 2004 SmackDown was like I feel like those are the matches I watch back the most. In terms of tape study, Shelton Benjamin, like guys like that. I feel like that's kind of
Shelton
well,
Benjamin's so good.
yeah.
He's so good. And you know what's funny, and I'll say this. When JJ and I went to AEW, like it seems like forever ago, but it was just a couple weeks ago down in Boston. I actually turned her and I told her like how Shelton and Benjamin was never world champ, and she like couldn't believe it. She was like, "What?
Yeah.
It's crazy. This guy's so good." I'm like, "Yeah, I couldn't disagree. I couldn't agree with you more. Shelton Benjamin's so damn good." Now, I have to admit, you said it first, so I was not going to bring it up because you did remind me, and as anyone who talks about the subject has to say it, right?
Mhm.
No one condones what Chris Benoit did, right?
No, obviously.
Obviously,
I feel like we shouldn't even have to say that. I
we
feel like
shouldn't
that's
have to. We shouldn't have to. Who the hell would condone that, right?
yeah.
But his body of work as a professional wrestler, ladies and gentlemen, was really fucking good.
It was really fucking good.
And honestly, when I wrote this whole thing, I actually had a young Chris Benoit as your intensity style. And then I was like, this 20-year-old man, maybe he doesn't want that smoke.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to change it.
I'll take that. I mean, as long as we're, I don't think I've ever had any murderous tendencies. I don't think I ever
Right,
will. Let's hope not. You
right.
know, CTE is real. Obviously, it has real
CTE.
side effects, but um, I'd like to think my in-ring style isn't that dangerous. I don't take too many risks. I
No,
have, you know, I turned down. I have turned down a lot of crazy bumps. I refuse to bump on like thumbtacks. Not that that's going to give me CTE, but
right,
uh,
right.
it's I definitely turn down a lot of things. I hardly go off the top rope. I'd say I take care of myself when it comes to my in-ring style, and I try to take care of my opponents as well,
Which,
unless they ask for it, of course.
which of course is the business, man. You got to take care of yourself and everyone else around you. Otherwise, you might not get booked next week. That's kind of a
Yeah.
thing, right? But yeah, I had written down Benoit's name and I was like, but he's got that intensity, but it's such a sore subject, so you never want to bring it up. But then you said it, I was like, okay, you went there. I'm gonna go there. Once again, And you know, I've heard people like who actually knew the man, like Chris Jericho, talk about it, right? And to be the best friend with that guy, man, it's a tightrope. You're right. You're following a tightrope. For a fan, you know, I watched him in early '90s WCW when I was a kid. I watched early '90s when he first met his wife, who was named Woman at the time, which was very weird. How generic of a title could you give a woman than the actual name of woman, right? I actually got into this whole conversation last week with Shannon Levangie about how like women's wrestling deserved better, women wrestlers deserve better, and they didn't get what they deserved. And no better pointing that out than a woman literally called Woman in 1992 WCW. Okay, Jesus Christ, but it's true. I mean, oh, it's
Yeah.
damn true.
Oh yeah.
Um, but and at the time of this recording, yesterday Drager dropped on the 20th, and Shannon's podcast will drop on the 27th. So you're going to be 7 days after that, whatever that is. I can't remember. But just for anybody who's paying attention. But yeah, oh geez, CTE, man. People, take
Yeah.
care of yourself. All right. If you need a doctor, see a damn doctor. I don't care what anybody says for any damn reason. Even if they call you a lunatic, check yourself and make sure you get proper help. Um,
Yeah. Oh, it can never help. Or it can
right.
never hurt. My bad.
Well, so for the shameless self promotion, if you are not a professional wrestler and you need professional help, please reach out to the Children of the All Father and we will make sure to help you get what you need. Boom. That's what we do. That's what I do. That's my other one of my 75 jobs, as I like to say.
75. That's
Five, it's just 5 jobs, guys. I should
no.
stop
I
it.
know. You.
It's only 5 jobs. It's not a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
I
I can
guess I
even
have
do
two of them.
I could do the Booker T and be like 5 times, 5. Yeah, dude, not gonna do a spinneroo in this jacket though. No, thank you. All right.
Yeah.
uh,
I've done exercise for the day. So
right. You know, we talked about you got your blackout Uranagi, you retired the spear, you got the nasty northern lariat, right? You alluded to maybe in 2026 we're going to be seeing
that's
some.
right. I did do Stetson's lariat. Only on
You did.
him, obviously.
You did. You got yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
I gotta put the Easter eggs in, man. I'm a nerd, right? I gotta put
I
the.
forgot. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? I'm like, oh shit.
I watched that match back today for sure, and I was like,
Yeah.
Easter eggs for the nerds, because there's gonna be some wrestling nerd like, well, he didn't talk about that one time. I'm like, bro, okay,
Yeah,
I'll,
yeah, yeah.
I'll give him the Easter egg. There you go. You did do the.
I've heard so many people talk about like um how Steve lays that in, and I'm like, well, Steve himself too told me you better knock the shit out of me. So I'm like, and I was just really hoping that people watching in the back were like, oh fuck, finally he took this shit. So I made sure I was really just trying to pop the boys in the back more than I was trying to pop anybody else.
Oh, it makes sense. I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah,
great. I thought it was great.
yeah.
Whoever was announcing that night was like, "Oh my god," you know what I mean? Maybe not a JR.
Paul.
What? So was that?
It was probably Paul.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was really good. Um,
yeah,
eh, so I don't want you to spill the beans, of course, but 2026 we got some new things coming out. It sounds like you got maybe some things in the works.
yeah. I have a lot of pre. I don't want to say predetermined dates. I guess I can say that predetermined dates. That I did not have previously. I'm not used to having future dates planned, but yeah, I'll be at Rebel Spirit a lot more. I'll be back at PvP a lot. Glad I could get my foot in the door at Rebel. I talked to their booker. He has some plans for me, so that's great. They're gonna do roster reset tournament with some like guys who are getting into that promotion. So I'll be in yet another tournament. This is the 4th tournament I've done so far. There's the tournament for tomorrow. There's the Von Erich tournament, 6-man, Jumbo Grand Prix, obviously, and roster reset tournament. That's 4. You can call me a tournament god, I guess, if you want, but I guess I should probably see if I win this one, see what happens there.
Right.
If you go 3 for 4, then yeah, you can give me the tournament god nickname.
There you go. Got to
So
make
yeah,
your
I'll be at
t-shirt.
Rebel a lot more. PvP, Springfield, in the Springfield area, and then I'll probably be at Live Pro a little bit more, and then I'll try to work my way into.
So, and you said it first. I love the fact that you keep hitting me before I get there. I feel like it's the synergy here, because I was going to ask you this question, and I swear to God, the name Von Erich, right? That's a big name
It
in
is
this
big.
industry. That's a big name for many good reasons, right? What was it like being in that tournament, man?
It was definitely interesting because we had a new story angle, with Brett Metro, stabbing me in the back, uh, because he's kind of an asshole. He's pretty pretty jealous guy. Costing me my undefeated streak. So they had the turn with the new school, uh, with my buddy Jay Tunis and then Rand Conway. So they had those three becoming the new school, and then obviously Joe Cassio later revealed himself as the life changer and leading that faction. So it was cool to kind of have a huge bio tag team match in a tournament. That we had paid our donuts to. We love weed. And so that was cool. And then I got to, obviously work with Wall again, and Jose and Nick T, who I mentioned earlier, in the second match, which we got. That was the match where we got eliminated. But yeah, it was cool, and it's especially seeing that the Von Erichs endorsed that we called that the tournament. Like that was cool. To be able to be involved in that part of history. So that's definitely the tournament I did the least in. I won the other two, so obviously you win a match, you get more matches. That's how a tournament
Right.
works.
Yeah. It's kind of how that works.
But yeah, being involved in such a big name was definitely an honor, especially after watching the movie too.
Oh my God. And for anybody who hasn't seen that movie, right? Go
Go
watch it
watch
right
it.
now.
Go watch it.
Go watch it right now. The
Fuck, are you doing?
the biggest thing, the funny thing that I've I'm like I've told people 1,000 times, I'm 40. I've been literally watching wrestling since I was born. My father was obsessed with wrestling in the 80s. Um, he loved WWF. I had an uncle who's obsessed with WCW. So as a young age, I got to go to WWF stuff in one house and WCW in the other house, right? So what I've told people on occasions from an old guy like me, right? That when it comes, a lot of people, they'll give, and I'm sure you've heard it too, right? Wrestling is so down and blah 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 blah, right? So when I try to tell people about go see this movie, they'll ask me how to describe it, and I say it's not a movie about wrestling. It's a movie about family that just happens to have wrestling in the background. To be quite frank,
Yeah.
and the crazy thing about the real life story is that the real life story was so much crazier. They had to take out an entire human being, an extra brother, because
Yeah.
because they said that there was no way an audience would actually believe that that many people would die from the same family. And
Yeah.
as a guy who went to schools for film, okay, the idea that Hollywood had to water down your story because it was too harsh for Hollywood, that doesn't happen very often. So
No, definitely not.
so and for any wrestling nerds, bro, this is a wrestling nerd movie. It's for you, bro. Go watch the movie.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie.
Yeah. It's
And
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
So tragic too.
Very, yeah. Some, and a lot of that, honestly, a lot of that is why I do what I do, right?
Yeah.
That's why I started a nonprofit to help people with their mental health. That's why I started this podcast. So I can talk about not just about the topics like wrestling that I love, but dive a little deeper, just get a little deeper so then people can see that you're a person behind that personality, right?
Mhm.
And Another thing is the kava bars, right? So most people don't know what kava is. I'm sure the people on my podcast have heard. I make commercials about it. Kava is an ancient Fijian root that helps promote rest and relaxation, calms anxiety, and actually can help you with your physical pain. And being someone who's watched um, close friends and family struggle with mental health or emotional problems or substance abuse issues, seeing wrestlers, professional wrestlers, struggle with their substance abuse issues, right? Especially, and that movie is 100% proof of everything I'm talking about. That's why I try to tell people drink kava instead, because kava can make you feel good without the downfalls of alcohol or drugs. So I will leave the sales pitch to that small little group there, but
Yeah.
I always have to put it up just a little bit, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Now,
That's another thing I attribute to a lot of my success. I was never like a huge party kid. I don't drink or smoke or do drugs or vape or any of that. I drank a little bit like around when I was like 18, but not to the point where it was like ever addiction or ever anything bad. I mean, I think I've been sober for like close to 2 years. The last time I got drunk, I think was the only time I ever threw up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing this again. Ever. You know, it's a typical thing. Like, no, I'm never doing this again. Obviously, someone ends up doing it again. But and even I thought I was joking at the time, but apparently I meant it because it's been almost 2 years since that happened. And I'll occasionally have like a beer here too, but like I don't even think I can get to the point where I get drunk anymore. Because after one, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really give a shit.
see, and that's great for you, man. And I don't drink alcohol, and I throw no shade at anybody, right?
Yeah, me either, of course.
Right? Throw no shade. But I always just try to have people err on the side of caution because I've especially seen what drugs and alcohol can do to
Definitely.
not
Yeah.
only a human being but a family, right?
Yeah.
It can destroy a family when those type of addictions get out of control. One thing that I talk to people about in general, right, is addiction. Because so many people, I don't know, it's we kind of we don't it gets uncomfortable, we shove it under a rug, we try to pretend it. And one thing I try to do is normalize it. And I say, listen, everybody has addictions. Just some are more socially acceptable than others, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
literally you and I was doing yesterday, all right, this is an addiction, all right? Wrestling is my addiction. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is my addiction. I have two phones. All right, let's do it. I got two phones. This is my iPhone. I film all of the video on there. Yesterday, I was using this phone to edit a bunch of videos from the Elite Wrestling Academy, the Elite Pro Wrestling Academy, and I was putting them on my Instagram. I think I put like 10 videos in the last 24 hours, 10, 12 videos, whatever it was, okay? On this phone, I was editing 1,800 pictures that my daughter took at Chaotic Wrestling on Friday night. 1,800 pictures I was going through, all right? On my PC over here, I was doing research, watching your matches, and writing these questions so I could be ready for this interview. All right? And
Yeah.
at the same time, I had this particular Mac that I'm on. It's a mini Mac. And I was creating not one, but two commercials for the Rude Awakening Kava Bar. Okay? So people might say that all of us are whatever about addiction. Once again, we're all addicts. We just have some of us has more socially acceptable addictions. Mine
Yeah.
is work, okay?
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking work, man.
The funny thing is I told my daughter, I was like, you should film me doing this. And she's like, nobody's gonna believe it. They're gonna think you're just making this up for the video. And I'm like, damn it, you're right. No one's gonna believe how crazy I am. I'm just gonna just keep. So I just turn around. I'm holding one phone. I'm like holding one phone, and I'm just like, did I tag everybody in that? I hope so. Did I finish editing that one? Next, like
Yeah.
it's sometimes life is crazier than the movie. All right.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So speaking of addiction, right?
Mhm.
Speaking of things that are almost therapeutic at times, is wrestling? Could you say that wrestling is your addiction and or therapeutic for you?
Yeah, I guess I could say that. Um, Something I want to work hard towards. I wouldn't say want to. It's something I'm currently working hard towards. Something I like doing. So, yeah, I guess I could say it is. Um,
So it's I've had a couple people, and I can say this, right. So I've been in the ring one time for like what 5 minutes on Thanksgiving
mhm.
doing that thing. Which shout out to Rich Palladino, by the way. He's the goat.
Oh yeah,
He's
greatest.
he's literally the goat. All right.
Yeah,
Um, he was such a nice guy. To welcome me into the ring and give me the pep talk and all that stuff. Richard the goat, I love you, man.
yeah.
Um,
Shout out Rich.
Shout out Rich. Hopefully, you liked his Christmas card. Hopefully, you liked his Christmas card. Um, so, but I can tell you, and I've said this before, and it hasn't quite come out just yet, that being in that ring, especially a crowd like the Open. Can I just shout out to the crowd at the Open? Like those guys love wrestling. They are passionate about wrestling. They are
Mhm.
there because they want to be there. They are not casual fans. They are diehard. They will go down with the damn ship.
Yeah,
All right. So with that being said, we talked about before, like instances where you go through something and maybe you can't describe it. I cannot describe how comfortable and warm and at home I felt in that wrestling ring for that 5 minutes.
yeah. That's interesting.
I
I guess that's kind of a similar experience I have with, obviously wrestling myself.
right, because you actually do the real thing. I just pretended for 5 minutes, right?
Well, ring announcing is an important part of it.
Right, presentation, man, presentation. And with that being said, right, and I'll say this to you, and I've said this to other people, I have decided to get into shape, get back into shape. And within 5 months' time, I will be going to school because I would like to be on the other side of the curtain. I don't, I can't do what you do because what you do is pretty damn good, bro. But there's always room for people to do presentation. There's always room for more for talented individuals who can learn the professional business, earn their dues as they should, and you know, be part of the team. Because
Yeah,
for every great WrestleMania moment, guess what, everybody? Someone had to hold the damn camera. Okay,
yeah. Like Stu.
it would have exactly Stu. Exactly. If there were no Stews, we'd have no great moments with John Cena. So
Exactly. And
someone
that's the other
someone
thing. I think a lot of people step into wrestling, they try out wrestling and maybe they aren't best fit for it, for example. But there's so many things in wrestling that you can do that aren't in the ring, whether it's I know I have a very good friend who started out training for wrestling and he still trains to wrestle, but he's kind of shifted into becoming a ref, and that's he's refed a few matches on um open ref Kevin Shea, Tiger Shea, however people he goes by those two names. His nickname is Tiger. Um so I mean like I think that's a misconception that some people have is like not like sometimes people want to be wrestler and I don't want to discourage anyone from chasing their dreams.
of course.
But sometimes, sometimes your dreams aren't always best fit for you. And I hate to like send like the discouraged message, but sometimes, there's other paths within your dream that are best fit for you, if that makes sense.
No, I mean I agree with you 100%. You know what I mean? Like maybe if this was 20 years ago and I was still your age, maybe I'd be like, all right, I'm going to do this wrestling school so I can try to be a wrestler. But I'm
Hmm.
40 now. that's not the wisest decision I can make. So yeah, I'm gonna earn my dues like everybody else, right?
Mhm.
But I don't give a shit if I'm just the guy who brings you water. I really don't. Can you know what I mean?
We don't have those guys at my level.
Right. Hey, bro, you want a
Well,
water?
unless you want to be that guy, man, I'm sure they'd hire you.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
I don't know how great the pay would be, but
especially at the price of free, it's kind of hard to. You want to be the guy who brings them waters? Sounds good, bro. I just want to be
yeah,
on this damn team. I don't give a shit what I do. And,
yeah, there you go.
and once again, people are like, in our society, we kind of look down upon people, especially blue collar workers, right, for doing those
Oh
manual
yeah,
labor jobs. And it's like, are you crazy? How
yeah,
do you know how screwed up this planet would be overnight if every janitor didn't show up for work tomorrow?
yeah,
I don't want to see
yeah.
that Earth.
It would be like the Industrial Revolution. I mean, everything would just smell like shit, look like shit.
We would collapse as a society overnight.
No, we would for sure.
Those people do amazing jobs, and they are 100% necessary in this universe. So
Yeah,
keep on going, man. Keep on
for
going.
sure. Absolutely, 100% agree.
But yeah, I mean, for anybody who has a dream, work. I mean, never give up, baby.
Never give up.
There you go.
Never give up.
Never give up, baby.
If you
Right?
have a dream, go chase it. Um, you'll know if it's, um if it's for you when you do it. Um, and then, it's always good to have backup options because it's not a guarantee that everything's going to work out. And sometimes, um, people will hold on to it too much, but sometimes you got to accept that maybe it's not for you. I don't want to say that in like a give up kind of way.
No.
But if you have a dream, don't put 100% into it. And that's not to say not to give it to your all, but you have to give yourself other options. Like I have college, obviously, in case wrestling does not work out. Seems like it's working out for me pretty good so far, so we're gonna
Right. You're
keep on
doing
that path. I think it will work out. I obviously believe in myself, but I think people with stuff like wrestling will maybe try it, they'll want it, but it's maybe not for them, and then they don't have alternatives. So it's
right.
a risky move.
It is, and and it goes to say with really any of those like music, movies, acting, whatever. They're always risky. And as a wiser man said, diversify your portfolio, right? Maybe not put all your eggs in the basket. And like you were saying, doesn't necessarily mean that you don't give your dream everything you have, 110%. But
Correct.
just in case, have a fallback plan. I mean,
If
there's
if everyone who wanted to be a wrestler, like they don't have enough, there's not enough spots for everybody.
yeah,
Unfortunately, that's just the harsh reality. So I mean, you gotta give yourself an alternative.
right. I mean, that goes for any. I mean, think of like the NFL, right? 32 teams. So that means there's only 32 people who can be the starting quarterback in all of the 8 billion human beings that exist on Earth. Only 32 of them are going to be the starting quarterback of a team. That you have better odds of winning the Powerball tomorrow than you do of being the next Tom Brady. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like it's not a horrible idea to be to stay realistic at times and to make sure to diversify yourself so that you have something to back up on. I mean, there are so many wrestlers who once their career's over, they fall back on that. Maybe they, you know, uh, oh, I just lost his name, but I saw a video of him not too long ago uh, selling cars for Ford. He was with the Jurassic Express when AEW first came out. Is it
yeah,
Marky Plier? And he was the little guy, but his body couldn't handle it anymore, so he had to retire from the ring after only a couple of years. And now he's selling. Now he's a car salesman for Ford, which is like okay, wow. 3 years ago, he was on AEW TV with Jurassic Express, and now he's selling cars. Sometimes that's the way it works. I mean,
yeah.
Look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. He got his neck broken at the peak of his career and had to barely actually wrestle for the last few years of his career just so he could stretch it out as long as he could before he finally hung up the boots.
Yeah.
So you could even become one of the greatest of all times and still have to end your stuff pretty early because accidents happen, right?
Yeah. Don't do set out tombstone pile drivers. That should
Yeah,
be everybody. I don't
please.
know why anyone would do that move, but
No, no, it's rough.
I've taken one pile driver. I'm very proud to say that. I took it from Rex, and I trusted him wholeheartedly. It was like the Kevin Owens package pile driver.
Okay.
Uh, and I was completely fine. Rex is great. So, but yeah, I mean, that's another thing I'd say for aspiring wrestlers. If you're uncomfortable doing something, then don't do it. I mean, what's what's the point? I mean, if you're gonna do something if you're gonna do like a less safe move per se, I mean, do it with someone that's a fucking professional. I mean, if it's I mean, don't take pile driver from a hardly trained guy. Like, oh, I did this in practice once. I mean, probably not. Probably not the best.
See, once again, there's a synergy because I had this question. If another rookie was about to have their first match, what advice would you give them about maybe nerves or self belief or any tidbits you've picked up from guys like TJC?
Yeah. So I was actually more nervous my first match a month before it happened than I was right before I walked out. So I would say try not to let it build up in your head too much. If it doesn't go well, it's not the end of the world. There's plenty of fucking guys that have shit first matches. I'm very proud to say I was not one of them, but it's not the end of the world. You have so much time to keep progressing. Just going in there, have fun, and try to make it. I mean, I guess some personal advice I would give is attack as many fucking people as you know in there. Tell them to scream to the top of their lungs, because that certainly won't hurt.
Oh man,
The whole undefeated streak thing never would have happened without any of them. I was not supposed to win my first match. But that's especially that last part. That will help you a lot.
find your people, man. Find your people.
Yeah,
There you go.
definitely.
And I mean that was also great advice. The idea of advocating for yourself.
Oh yeah.
So many people have a very difficult time advocating for themselves. And, I would say, especially it seems like with you BioPro guys, you guys have that level of comfort not only with each other, but with your trainers, right? To be able to
Yeah.
advocate for yourself and say, hey man, I don't know if I can do this, or hey man, I'm not sure if this is good. You're saying you only took that one pile driver. I'm sure there's been plenty of other times people is like, hey, I want to try this in a match. And you said earlier, you're like, that's not for me. That's not my thing. I'm good to go. I'm all set. Um, and what I'd like to say is that's a great example, right? So what I'd like for people to know, whether they're in the wrestling business or in the rest of the world, um, that listen to what Jack's saying. Be able to advocate for yourself. And you're not a horrible person for saying, I'm not sure, right? For just
Mm-hmm.
being able to express yourself as a human being and saying, you know what, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. And maybe that person can, prove themselves in some way and say, hey, you know what, I get where you're coming from, but check this out. And they
Mm-hmm.
can prove you wrong, right? Or maybe they're like, hey, you know what, no problem, guys. I don't want to be that guy who's pushy or whatever. And they respect you more. Because if there's anything that I would respect someone more for is advocation, right? To be someone to actually be able to stand up and say, hey, you know what? Not right now. That's not okay. I'm not comfortable with this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, I feel like most people at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? We all have those same emotions. And when somebody's like, hey, I don't think I'm this is for me, we're almost like, oh, my bad, bro. Like, I didn't know. I was just okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to hear you throughout this conversation kind of just sprinkle that in left and right because it just obviously I get to package it up like this and point it out to the universe, but it's just a great thing that some people have a really tough time doing, like advocating for themselves. And
Yeah.
obviously it comes from confidence, right? And
Mhm.
having that confidence within yourself, maybe being somebody like Jack who goes out and smashes it at something that they love. So tip of the cap to you. Um, you know, confidence, we talked about that type of thing, but like as you develop your character, how much of your real personality shows up in the ring?
Honestly, a good part of it. I mean, when describing my character, I Black Jack, the name I Black Jack, that came from my Little League days. That was like my pregame ritual, if you will. So I mean that has like an origin. Didn't know what else to make my ring name, so I'm like, fuck it, I'll just take the one I had from when I was like 12. Um, so it's really just me exaggerated, if that makes sense.
Perfect.
How can I make myself as a human as like an ultimate babyface, or how can I make myself as a human an ultimate heel? Like sometimes I have anger issues, so if I was going to be a heel, I would exaggerate that. And other times I'm like super hyper and like fucking ready to go. That's what I put into my babyface self. So I take characteristics that I have and then I'll exaggerate.
So, do you have like, hopefully this makes sense, or maybe I should put it like this: What do you what do you hope wrestling helps you grow into? Like not just as a performer, but as a person.
I hope it. I mean, my ultimate goal with wrestling is to just make a career out of it. So I guess it's. I hope it turns me into a family man. I hope I get married someday, have kids, etc. Like build a family from it. So I just wanted to support my life and then live a good life with it throughout family, throughout friends, and then just be able to enjoy it. It's real. This is really not too much to it. That's really all. I'm looking to leave a legacy behind, leave a generation behind, have a good marriage, and then once it's all said and done, walk off into the sunset.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. That was respectable, man. That was so respectable.
It's real. I'm not really. I'm not trying to rule the world. I'm just really just trying to leave something behind. That's really it.
See, and that's a beautiful sentiment, because I feel like, especially these days with social media, so many people get their egos right, overinflated. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm a hype man, so my whole thing is that I love to hype the people up. I mean, rookie of the year, baby. Um, but for you to not necessarily believe in that hype and still stay so humble. Like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have more respect for you at this point, to be quite frank with you. Like I've always,
Thank you.
the last year or so, I've genuinely respected your body of work as it is. But the idea that you're like, hey, you know what? I want to be a good man. I want to live a good life. I want to do good things, and at the end of it I want to be able to hang it high and be like, I gave it everything I had. Like
Yeah.
that's very respectful, very admirable, very honorable of you. I would say to someone especially young as you and anybody else listening, go out and get the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. All right,
Mm-hmm.
I always make sure to advocate for that particular book because I wish I read that 20 years ago. I wish I read that at your age because it really teaches you about finances and management of time versus in your return on investment. And um it really kind of hammers home some of the beauty things, maybe a lot of the maybe the life hacks about finances that maybe your parents or grandparents didn't know. And it really teaches you about portfolio management and diversifying yourself so you could be more successful in the long run, right? I'm sure most wrestlers, they're sitting there thinking, how can I be able to afford a life of wrestling? And maybe someone like you, who's a professional wrestler, right, and young, they never thought buying a home could do that. And you might be like, what is this guy? What is this crazy old man talking about? If you were to buy a multi-family home and then rent out the rest of the apartments, you would then be able to live in your house for free, right? Get paid a little extra on the side, and then you would be able to have a little more breathing room when it came to taking a booking maybe somewhere further, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a knock on the door for I Blackjack and Limitless up in Maine one time. You know what I'm saying? There
Yeah.
you go. I mean, who would want to be there when MJF comes to town? But
Yeah. That's true.
so, right, I mean, MJF's coming to town, guys. But
I
if
didn't even
almost,
know that. That's cool.
yeah, he's going to be there January 16th for a big return to Limitless. But
I won't. I can't be there then. But
right,
yeah.
I know. There's so many
Yeah.
shows going on that day, dude. It's
Yeah.
for you. You're booked, so you know where you're going to go. But as a
Yeah.
fan, let me tell you, sometimes I'm like, I really want to go to the show, but it's in like bum f Connecticut, and it's like, do I want to
Yeah.
drive home at like till like 3 in the morning? Do I want to go to the show that's a little closer? There was like a
Yeah.
there was like a whole month where we were just getting hotels in random spots, 3 weekends in a row, so you can go to this show or that show or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I definitely recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad to anybody who wants to learn about investing in themselves for the future.
Yeah.
Um, Great book. Don't put it down. It's a wonderful read.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got your people, you got your support, which is wonderful.
I have everything I need right now.
Right. So for anyone who's listening, who's brand new to the wrestling business, maybe there's because I actually do talk to a fair number of trainees at various places sometimes who haven't made their debut yet. So for any one of those people who are actually, because you're sitting here and you're like, I've only been here a year. Who can I tell my story to? Well, you can tell
Yeah.
it to the kid who's coming next behind you, man. Of course you can.
Yeah. For sure.
For any one of those people who are listening today, and maybe they feel overwhelmed and they don't have necessarily the sport that you have, what would you want them to know? What advice would you give to those people?
Give it a chance. Um, enter uncomfortable territory, which is what you will do anytime you try something new. By the way, usually. Um, work hard. If you don't just say you want something, show you want it. Work hard, and then just be ready to overcome obstacles. Believe in yourself, and yeah, if you want something, make it happen. That's what I've done. That's all I've done. I wanted to wrestle, so I made it happen.
There you go. And you're nailing it, man.
Yeah, shut your mouth and open your ears.
There,
That's another good one.
there you go. You just set up me up one more time.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we set this up, but we didn't.
I don't know. I'm just giving you my honest answers, man.
No, it's great. I love it. So my next question, legitimately here, is how do you handle feedback or criticism from your trainers, the veterans, and the promoters while you're still finding your footing?
Well, it seems like I just answered that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, whatever they say, I try to emphasize. I mean, I feel like this is part of getting better is, you get some certain feedback, and then the next match you have, you'll try to hyper focus into that. Which, when you hyper focus into something, it might leave holes for other things that you forget about. Which I think over time is something like you'll attack, like this hole in your game, and then eventually you'll start patching more and more those holes as you get more and more advice as you keep on going. Because obviously no one's perfect, and over time you'll get closer to perfect. And I don't think you'll never get too perfect, but you'll get closer and closer the more reps you have, and the more um, feedback you get.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people, especially fans, they always think that wrestling is just like 100% physicality. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't think of the psychology of wrestling itself, right? And you were talking about holes in the game. I've talked to a couple of people who have talked about like maybe when they were training or when they were first starting out in their first year or two, there were parts of maybe their whole, use your terms here. There was a couple of holes in their game where maybe it was hard for them to show that psychological connection to the audience, right? Maybe it was hard for them to go from. I've heard some people talk about the idea of just remembering to look to find the camera, right, where the hard camera is. There's there are so many little small nuances that go with being a professional wrestler.
Yes.
Is there something that maybe I should ask a two-part question here? Is there something that's been hard for you to develop over the last year? And then is there something that's been easier for you than some other people?
I think showing my intensity is like a strength in my game. Whether it's through babyface fire or you know, laying in the things I do, to make it look more real. Um, but I think the verbal aspect is something I will continue to work on. I've been cutting more promos as of late. The one I cut last Thursday, like the the most recent episode of Wrestling Open, I was pretty proud of. I thought that was probably one of the better promos I've cut. Still some things to work on, of course, but as I cut more and more promos, I start to get better with that aspect. So I think it's really just the verbal part. Um, I gotta do more work on because it's not something I've done too much of. Um, but obviously, there's still holes in certain things I do. I'm still pretty green as it is. I'm just trying to get better at everything at the same time.
Right. And I mean, the fact that you're closing out with three bangers is going to be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Tip of the cap is always to you, man. Tip of the
Yeah.
cap always to you. So yeah, I mean, once again, it just to take a pause for the cause there, as I like to say, because so many people have that all or nothing mentality, right? Where it's like, if I can't be perfect at everything at all the time, why do I even try?
Yeah.
It's like, listen, if you're doing something that you're extremely passionate about, more than likely it's going to be something super difficult. And something like wrestling doesn't matter if you watched 1,000 years of wrestling. Doesn't mean you can just magically translate that once you step into the ring. That's not how the human mind works. That's not how people work. And I mean, no two journeys are the same, right?
No.
I've talked to so many different wrestlers over the course of my life and through this podcast, and no two people are the same.
No.
Some people took a left and other people took a right, and it just goes to show that you can still find your way if you work hard, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
I feel like we're almost there, and I think JJ's almost ready for you because she got she got in the house. So um, I guess my go to final question for you, and once again, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for doing
Of
this.
course. Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun. I think this was a lot
Yeah.
of
I'm
fun,
blessed.
right? Um, we talked about your in ring style, the fact that you're having all these matches. But I guess before I should get to this next question, um, when this drops, most of those matches have already happened. But for anybody who wants to see, make sure to follow iBlackjack on all Instagram, Twitter, wherever it is, X, whatever you want to call it. You're actually really one of the people that I appreciate that really post a lot of your own stuff. So many, not to throw shade at anybody once again, but I've seen a lot of professional wrestlers who don't seem to reciprocate their own free press, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So I always respect game since that's pretty much what all I do these days is just throw out free press for you guys.
Yeah.
Game respects game when they're like, all right, this guy is like making sure to keep up on his stuff. And yeah, he has something pinned or whatever, but he's still showing you, hey, this is where I'm going to be over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And one thing for anybody who may not be as familiar with the Open, they really don't start announcing things for that particular show until just a few days, right? Like,
Yeah.
as of right now, it's Sunday the 21st. I just got tickets today for the Christmas show.
Just got a notification for what is happening in my match tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Brad Baylor thing until like maybe an hour or so before this conversation, right?
Yeah. Like 24 hours before my match is going to happen, I just, like, this second got a notification.
Exactly. So, for anybody who is a fan of the Open, as always, I love Drew. He does a lot of incredible work. And just be patient. Wait till the day of or the day before, and then you'll see what's going to go on. I guarantee you it's going to be a good time regardless of who's on the card. Never shy away from going to one of the two shows, whichever you can make it to. All right? So, with that being said, final question for you, man. Packaging it up 2025, incredible year. 2026, you've told me all the great things you're going to do. Brad Baylor, that's pretty dope. I'm just going to be honest with you. Super dope. I'm very excited for you, right? Especially knowing how much of that's a thing that you wanted to do, right? So, my question here, right? And I guess maybe I should go into one last part about psychology, right? Because you talked about how you're doing the business marketing, correct?
Yeah.
And you wanted to have this bigger influence on there, right?
Yeah.
So why I want this to be my last question is because I haven't had anybody else that's honestly told me that before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of exciting to me. I'm kind of curious about it. So maybe I'm crazy here, but I'm curious, right? So it makes you wonder, are you picking the brains of guys like Drew when it comes to that type of stuff?
Yeah, here and there. I mean, I try to figure out what goes into making these shows happen. He has conversations with lots of place owners because there's been a lot of change of scenery from the White Eagle to Electric Haze to fucking Roads on the Patuxent. They've talked to some other venues that we've done shows at. Because it's hard to come by wrestling venues because it does scare a lot of owners. So I don't want to act like I have a huge understanding of it because I still don't. There's still a lot of shit I don't know when it comes to that. So I kind of get a little bit of behind the scenes of how it works, but I don't have like a huge understanding.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense, right? You've been in the business for a short amount of time compared to your trainers, etc. So it makes sense. But what I would just say, whether it's the BioPro or Yond itself or Drew or some of the other promotions you were speaking of that you're networking with, I just can't see a better place for a young aspiring mind, to be quite frank, with someone like Drew who is doing something once again that most promotions can't do or won't do or couldn't do or haven't done, whatever word you want to throw in there, right? Not to throw shade at those other promotions because I love a lot of those guys too. But the fact that he's running 2 weekly shows at least on a regular basis, I mean, I couldn't think of a better teacher for learning the business. So,
Yeah, no, not at all.
So once again, hats off. Wonderful that you are there. And shit, maybe 20 years from now, we're going to be talking about how you were running some spot over in Bellingham or whatever the hell. You
Yeah.
know? That's
We'll see.
the eye blackjack territory, baby. That's the one, right?
Yeah.
No. Maybe we could get into Worcester State. That would be kind of cool, right? Maybe you can.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah, maybe.
that would be cool. All right.
Yeah,
So once again, so um, awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for the conversation.
of course.
For anybody who's wondering, the next one's coming up. I actually have as I've said, handyman. I'm going to have a conversation with handyman tomorrow. On Friday, we have the one and only Patrick Saint. Got to throw it up to my boy. He's a good dude. Lined up eventually, we're going to get Katie Prescott and Mike Grassa. We are going to have the one and only Donovan Dijak. I'm finally saying that outside in the thing. When it's happening, I don't know. He's a busy guy. The fact that I'm going
Yeah,
to get it at all, I find myself to be very fortunate. Just like I'm sure you're very fortunate to be wrestling the man in just a couple of weeks.
for sure.
Right? That's a huge name, right? The guy has been to the dance. The guy has been where the indie wrestler wishes they could go. The guy was there, right? He's got his WWE
Yep.
action figures you can buy from him, get it signed. I feel like here it is right here. I got the
There you go.
autograph. This is what he sent to me as a present for getting the time with him for his for the podcast. So thank you,
Sick.
Jack.
Sorry I didn't have one to send you, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day. But you know what, dude? I didn't expect this, so I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Such a nice
sick.
guy.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So yeah, plenty of more podcasts, a bunch of other names that Landon, I don't know, crazy names. I really want to get Lauren St. James. I think that would be a fun one. I think that would be a fun
You
one.
would have a blast with her.
She seems like a super cool chick. And I know my daughter really digged her, so it'd be really great. So,
Yeah.
and yeah. Oh, Armani Chaos. I'm sorry. My associate producer on the side is making sure I point out that Armani Chaos is also coming on the podcast. I'm sorry. Armani, we love you, bro. So, with that being said, I Blackjack. Everyone go see this guy now. He's going to be doing some amazing, incredible shit. If you haven't seen his matches, get IWTV. What are you doing? It's $10 a month. You get like thousands of wrestling promotions from all across the country. Get it now. Watch the Wrestling Open on Mondays and Thursdays. And shit.
Yeah.
Hope you keep crushing it, bro. I totally
I
respect
hope so too.
and I love what you're doing.
Copy will hit one through here.
Right? So once again, thank you so much for being here today. Any last word?
No, not really. Just had fun doing this. I look forward to wrestling more, and I hope that I have an even better 2026.
All right, from his mouth to your ears, people. He told you, listen good. Once again, the Rev Dude coming at you, and have a great day. Peace.